Good morning, boys and girls. Today, I'd like to talk to you about Hieratics. The archetype has gone largely unnoticed, but I believe it's very powerful and versatile. I think it can do a lot of big things. Let's take a look. As you can see, the Hieratic engine, as I call it, is a whopping 12 cards. It's a third of your deck. With the way their effects work together, any two Hieratic monsters in hand will let you go into any rank 6 exceeding your extra deck that you might need at the time. I should start off by explaining the Hieratic archetype. Most Hieratics have the effect that when they're tributed, it doesn't matter if they go to the grave or not, but when they're tributed, you can special summon a normal dragon monster from your deck, grave, or hand. So basically from anywhere, you just bring one of these two guys out onto the field. But you make their attack and defense 0, so you put them in defense because you're not stupid. First up, you've got the Rhoda. Clearly, it's Rhoda, so good Yu-Gi-Oh! Is good Yu-Gi-Oh! That's why you put it in the deck. This card nets you any one of these 8 cards. It lets you search the combo piece you don't have. First piece of the combo is Iset. He's level 5, but his first effect lets you normal summon him without tributing. He just goes down to 1,000 attack. So you could use Blue's effect. Blue says you can tribute a Hieratic from the field to special summon him. And then obviously you will have tributed this guy, and then you bring one of these guys out. So there you are with 2 level 6s, and you're ready to start looking at your extra deck and trying to figure out what plays you're going to make. Next up, in the basic section, is Cyber Dragon. Hieratic Tef knew it, just call him Hieratic Cyber Dragon. Same effect, you drop him when your opponent has monsters and you don't. Again, this guy plus this guy means you drop him and then you tribute him to special summon this guy, and you're back to looking at your extra deck for combos. Or, again, if you only got the Cyber Dragon and the pink one, you special summon the Cyber Dragon and you tribute summon this guy, and you bring out one of these guys. Now, I know what you're thinking. Same thing I thought before I looked closer. That's level 5, and these are level 6s, so that doesn't net you anything. But Pink Ranger's second effect, third effect, I forget, says that once per turn, you can activate this effect and target one normal monster on your field, and all Hieratics on the field become that monster's level. So basically, after you get out the normal monster with this guy's effect, or this guy's effect, whoever you tributed to tribute summon this guy, you activate his effect, make him level 6, and then you overlay. And you're back to digging in your extra deck. And I almost burped there, so I'm sorry, but my wife made some really good food tonight. It's important to note that when you do Cyber Dragon this guy, he can't attack that turn. It's in the middle of this text, so your opponent usually doesn't get that, so it's easy to bluff him with that. Also, worth pointing out, this guy, Blue Ranger, has another effect too. It's in the middle of the text and most people miss it. Once per turn, you can tribute any Hieratic from your hand or field to pop one spell or trap on your opponent's side of the field. In Monster Reborn this guy, you can red MD him back to the field and then basically tribute one from your hand. If you've got another Hieratic in the hand, pop a spell or trap, and then you bring out one of these guys, and then you're back to your extra deck. It's amazing. It just goes on for days. Standard lineup, standard derp lineup. Tour guide, Sangin, tour bus. I know I'm going to catch hell for the tour bus because the Yu-Gi-Oh! Community is pretty divided on it, but I love this card. In testing, the more I use it, the more I love this card. It combos really well with the other cards in the deck. You can recycle card cards or max Cs, or in one video I'm going to post shortly, if I haven't already posted it, you can see me use it to drop tour guide 3 turns in a row. Next up is BLS, because BLS is BLS. If it were 2, I'd have 2 in the deck. All Hieratics are light monsters, except this guy, and there's a whole bunch of other dark monsters, so BLS is obvious. Red MD is Red MD. Half the deck is dragons, so you run Red MD because of combos. Card Car is amazing. It's another underhyped card. It's a plus. It's +1. It's +1, and I hear people say things like, well, what if they Veiler it? Well, so what if they Veiler it? That means they're not going to use that Veiler on one of my tour guides. Let them Veiler it. It did its job. It won for 1. It's always a +1. It's never not a +1. So, at worst case scenario, you 1-for-1 something from your opponent. Boo-hoo. Maxi is what it is. Spells and traps. It's a pretty straightforward lineup. I'll name the cards and be done with it. If you have any questions, feel free to ask. But Avarice because Avarice wins games. Triple MST and Heavy because they're allowed in the format. Dark Hole at 1 because I'm only allowed to use one. Same with Monster Reborn. Lance is really good because a lot of these effects let you drop them on the field and bait out back row from your opponent, and then you can just lance your monster and keep going. And people rage quit, usually. Duality because it's duality. All the other standard stuff, Compulse gets around Stardust and Zen Mains, and so does Deep Prison and the Solemn Brigade and the Torrentials and the Mirror Forces. Well, I run 2 of them because I've been playing Yu-Gi-Oh! Since the Dark Ages, before there was a list, in the time before the list. And I never, in my dreams, thought Mirror Force would be a 2. But here we are. So it's a 2. You run 2. It's stupid not to. Now, let's dig into some of this other stuff. Ignore the extra deck. Side deck, because this is not my side deck. Most of it's not. A lot of these cards are just cards I really wish I could squeeze into the deck, but I haven't found room, so I can't. Maybe a better player could, because I do suck. And as much as you spam Exceeds in this deck, I really want to run Exceed Reborn. It's so good. So much hidden potential in this card. Anyway, let's get into some of the meat and potatoes. Combos. Chimera Tech, because Geargia is out there. I run Tiras because I have the ability to make rank 5s in theory. I don't know that I've ever had the opportunity to do it in a duel, so I'm looking hard at dropping him for another rank 6 or rank 3. Strike Bouncer because Strike Bouncer wins games. Negate one effect on your opponent's side of the field once per turn. Chain him to Xian. Negate Snowman Eater, Raikou, just negate anything that activates on your opponent's side of the field. Good card is good. Exabeetle is my favorite card in the deck. This has got my vote for MVP of the deck. He's rank 6. He takes any 2 rank 6 monsters, any 2 level 6 monsters to make him. And when he's summoned, you can equip from either player's grave 1 monster to him, and he gains half the attack and defense. That's usually irrelevant. A lot of times, I like to bring him out and then equip my Sangan or my Tour Bus. Because his second effect says, once per turn, detach 1 material from this guy. You target 1 face-up card on your side of the field and 1 face-up card on your opponent's side of the field, and send them to the grave. Not destroy, send. This lets you get off a Sangan Search or another bus shuffle back in the deck, and then he looks pretty weak, but then you just overlay him with Gaia and swing for 26. It's a great play. Next up is Atum. He is the linchpin in a 2-card combo that nets you Red MD and 2 big beaters on the field. Maybe more, depending on the rest of your hand. It goes like this. All you gotta do is make Atum, which is any 2 of these cards together. Makes Atum. Once per turn, activate his effect by detaching 1 material. Special summon 1 dragon from your deck. Make that dragon's attack and defense 0. So you grab a Red MD, put him in defense position, because you're not stupid. Then you use Red MD's effect to bring back usually one of these guys, the one you detached, to special summon him. And they're swinging at 25 at full power. Or if you've already got another Hieratic in hand, you get this guy back if you can. And then you use his effect to pop a spell or trap in your opponent's back row by tributing from the hand, and then get at the other guy that's not on the field already. Then you overlay and you bring out Strike Bouncer and you just derp everywhere. Because you're good at Yu-Gi-Oh! Oh, and before you swing, make sure you drop Gaia on top of your Atum so that he can swing this turn. Big 2. Just shoving it everywhere. Next up is Swordbreaker. Make him detached to Catastor effect. 2 Gaia Dragons. Almost want to run 3 because I usually burn both during a duel. You can put him on any rank 5 or 6 Exceed. So Exabeetle, once he's done his work by sending your opponent's shit to the grave, you just drop Gaia on top of him and swing. Atum, once he's summoned something to the field, he can't attack this turn, so you drop Gaia on top of him and swing. So I can make rank 3s, Levier is what it is. Zen Mains at 2 because Zen Mains is there. Acid Golem. and tem tempo for the same reason. He's in out to a lot of different things.